Today, Precarious plays Stardew Valley.
Going to sleep. Gonna wake up. Gonna do one more day. Yay! We start now! We start now! And I want to be an artist.
I'm sorry, when are we starting?
Come on, man!
It's level 10!
It's a big deal! I'm a grown now!
Like one of my many plants. There are only 10 of these and I got the 10th one.
Look!
Hear me out. Agriculturalist is not very good, but artisan is way too good.
Okay, that's easy.
Damn it! I failed in my argument.
Look, the text is even green. It matches me. It's mine.
Sure. Artisan is very, very good.
Well,
because it just applies to so much stuff.
Yeah, like, whoa.
I don't know if it immediately applied to any of that.
I know, but I'm just saying
it
that
might have immediately applied to that, because that's a weird number.
The goat cheese. Is there any goat cheese in here? No. The point is that 40% more on numbers like these are something I can get behind.
Yeah, it's a big percentage. It is, I think, far and away one of the more noticeable, most easily appreciated professions in the game. A lot of them, I wish that, for example, I think it's like the ones that allow you to double some resources when you find them, I wish that it would play a tone or give you one of those little indicator messages to tell you that it had activated, because it's really easy to let those go unappreciated.
Oh, I got maples.
That's not, you need pine for the bundle that you have your eyes on, right? Did you already do that one?
I have one of all of... Look, the bloops are coming. And everything is getting there, and nothing is ready. I mean, I'm happy.
What was it that I was hammering on about? There was something specific that I had in mind. Oh! I just wonder... I wonder where the line is sometimes when it comes to, including combat.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about how I play Kenshi, and I think, I wish that I had more elements like The Sims. I wish that I had to care for the character's social needs. I think that could be really interesting, especially if they took a slightly more serious stab at a Sims mechanic.
Yeah.
Where eventually the Sims series included a bounce back, sort of recovery mechanic, for several of your needs, several of your meters, right? The bladder one is obvious. That's been in there, I think, since the beginning. If your character needs to use the bathroom and the meter either empties or fills, I think they tried to make it consistent to where you always want a full green meter.
Yeah. So
if the meter turns completely red, your sim will wet themselves and then the meter fills all the way back up. And whenever it is happening to someone that's not you, it's pretty funny.
A little funny, yes.
It's a little funny just because the animations are, they incline it toward comedy, right?
Yeah, because it's a sad situation, and you done fucked up if your sim just pooped himself.
Yeah, I mean, when would that ever be?
Go buy a toilet, put it in the middle of the room. Doesn't matter, it's The Sims.
Right.
Just put it down, let him use it. It'll be fine. He just needs to pee. And you were taking care of him, and you failed him. So let's laugh about it and do better next time.
For social, if the social meter empties in at least a couple of them, an imaginary creature will show up to like play with that sim.
Mm-hmm.
They conjure something, and it's really funny and kind of weird because if you have that as your active sim,
Mm-hmm.
you can see that imaginary buddy, and it's usually like a person in a mannequin costume or like a humanoid.
Like the social bunny?
Yeah, like the social bunny. And it not like a model lady,
it's
like
just,
a Dragon Quest bunny girl.
It's
I
like-
mean,
just a person in a kigurumi.
right.
Just anyone to talk to.
But if you switch to another sim, it becomes invisible. You can't see who they're interacting with.
Uncomfortable.
So it just looks like they're pantomiming all of these interactions, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So I think if they had like a darker version of that in Kenshi, where if you were trying to play like a lone wanderer, you could have I guess small spoilers for Afro Samurai, but you could have like an Afro Samurai scenario where your character starts to lose it, right?
Yeah.
And you start seeing like a companion that if you were ever to switch away from that character, if that's not your active character, then it's like, who the hell have you been hanging out with? They're not, it's just you here in this empty field. Or if they like spawned roving bands of outlaws that would attack you, but once you started fighting them, you realized that they're hitting you and its damage numbers are popping up, but it's not
nobody
actually
is there.
and it's not actually dealing damage, it's just printing the damage numbers, but it's not actually impacting your HP.
Oh no, I think it would be funny if sometimes it impacted your HP.
I think that'd be a little too much. I think that would, for too many people, that would wind up falling into like, is this a glitch?
Yeah.
But I think it would be cool if then like, if the first time you depleted one of their HP values, like one of them went down, then like they all like poofed away. And it was like, ooh, they were figments of your deprived, socially exhausted, deprived imagination this whole time. So part of me wants more of that Sims feel, but then I think, well, what if it went in the opposite direction? Hold on, don't cut it from that side, because it'll fall into the lake. You can go around. You might have to. That's I think that's just
It's a rock.
No, that's not a rock. Just to your right is just a branch. Yeah. And now you can go down and then cut it from that side. See, all of that would have gone into the water.
You were saying about it going the other direction as far as like maybe putting some of Kenshi into the Sims.
Yeah, if you could fight very seriously to the point where like you had to worry about losing consciousness, and then imagine if you had like a Sims family and you had to keep the youngest one on reserve and hidden off in the corner. So that way, if your Sim family lost the battle after they had been looted by the winners and they had left the scene, your kid could run out and bandage everyone up so they wouldn't outright die. Because that's a thing that has happened in Kenshi. Because I fabricated this elaborate. It's not especially elaborate. I've fabricated a backstory, just incidentally, because. It's a very expansive map, so you have a lot of time on your hands, even at max speed. Like even if you turn the game speed up on these long overland trips. So I decided that like one of the characters that I got early on is effectively, because of the size of them that was just rolled randomly, they are effectively like a child scale, and honestly from my god perch, It's really easy to ignore that everybody has like a very similar face texture and they all look sort of adult because of it. Because I mean, they're all armored up and she wears a hat now. She's got like a cool Ronin hat that covers her face. So I just imagine like a kid whose job is to just be sneaky, and her job really was just to run out and kind of like bandage her adoptive family up whenever they lost. But now, as people have gotten better at their respective roles, that particular service was no longer required. It became less important as everyone started being able to win their battles more consistently.
Yeah.
So she had to come up, I devise a new purpose for her, and she has become my burglar. So whenever I need some breaking, maybe not the entering, but definitely the breaking. Whenever I need some trespassing, or like a lock, whenever there's like a locked something that I want to be an unlocked something, she's my go-to girl. That's what she does. Funnily enough, because of that, like, everybody has a thing that they're good at. One of the characters, he was a big, imposing, bald, like, clean-shaven, black guy to begin with, and then I was like, oh my god, I know exactly what I want to do, because I saw that he had a bonus to weapon crafting. So I made him even bigger, named him Rodan.
Yes! Yes!
So now I've just got Rodan.
Yeah!
And he forges my weapons, and he was probably my greatest financial force.
That's funny.
Because after like the first couple of dozen weapons that he made, they started getting really good and selling for like thousands of cats a piece. It's like the kind of thing where I'll find a new person and I'll be like, I want to hire you. And then they'll say like 6,000. And that used to be like a number that would have crippled me, right? My ability to feed and medicate people for a long time. And now I have like a direct value, like a quantity of swords.
It's like, okay, so this cat is worth 3 swords.
Yeah, it's 3 swords.
This one I just need to make a pocket knife.
Yeah, they're not really great, but I mean, I've got facilities. They'll train up just fine. But I think that mostly, again, I try to allow a lot of the random character generation to just stick, even though you're free to edit them however you want, as if you were just starting a new character from scratch.
Yeah.
That mostly randomly generated, like teenage girl, young girl.
Yeah.
Might be an even greater contributor to my overall wealth because of the high-tech facilities she's responsible for us being able to break into. Like, I mean, it's hard to, like, where do you assign, who do you give the gold star to, you know? Who gets the medal?
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, a lot of fighting had to happen, and hey, the really good swords, they didn't hurt. I'm sure that was a big contributing factor for our success there. But if you were gonna get stopped at the gate, then maybe she should get an above average share of the credit. Oh, and she is also wound up turning into a very a very specific but very badass fighter. Because there's a really awful scenario that I'm not proud of, but it has wound up being too useful for me to just like leave the memory of it in the past. There was a bandit boss that was strong enough to continue fighting effectively even though both of his legs had been broken. And he kept crawling over back to where the battle had moved over to and would start swinging his sword at our feet. So what I did at one point is I had her break off from the battle, go into hiding, and then come up behind him, and every time he would wake up, she would use the assassination skill, which currently does not actually, it's not for murders, it's to knock people out.
Mm-hmm.
And she would just knock this high-level character out, and it was working because either she would succeed or it would fail, and then he would turn around and crawl, like, on his belly after her as she ran away. Right?
Shit.
So, over the course of that fight, she went from, like, 1 to 35 assassination. Because she had to knock him out so many times, and he was so strong relative to her. And now, that's how I start a lot of my fights. Is she will sneak up behind people, like groups of people, and just knock them out in a chain. Just as many as she can until she gets caught. And then everybody charges in to clean up the stragglers and to at least have a numbers advantage at the start of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, Stardew Valley sure is fun. What was I talking about? Oh well, probably not important.
I need more goats, man. Look at this. Huh.
Yeah, but I don't think they give you goat milk every day, do they?
No, they don't. But if I could get them on like an alternating schedule, it could be almost $1,000 every, like it could be 700.
But you could just get another regular cow, and then it would be 2 cheese, which is 840.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is goat milk every other day?
I think it's every 2 days or every 3 days. I can't remember.